Uh, the six proposals really a collection of things that we've been looking at Central Council for a while now, and much of it is as a result of various kinds of feedbacks that we are getting. And so some of it is to be done so that we close kind of loopholes. Others will be done or implemented so that we can more consistently apply our rules. And some others will address things that are actually not fully or properly covered in the manual. So, all right. As you can see, I'll be addressing 7 changes. The 6 of them are technical. And the 7th, the Handicappers Manual, really is addressing how these things can or should be implemented following our bylaws. Just from the titles, I think I don't need to read them, so I just cut right into the individual proposals. And I'll read it out. Modify the handicapping rules applicable to changes to Part 2 of the manual to include specifically to Section 6 only. The explanation is that Section 2.3 handicapping changes that affect Part 2, Section 6, adjustments to SB handicaps of the Handicappers Manual will be ready for presentation at the annual meeting, which is today, the year previous to when the changes take effect, with a draft of Part 2 available for viewing by September 1st of the previous year. Exceptions will be made for minor housekeeping corrections as noted. Any discussion?
Bill Visser, please provide example of what counts as previous year.
Well, previous to when it is implemented. As it says, the year previous to when the changes take effect.
So we would discuss something in 21 and then it takes effect in 22.
Correct. And it's a 2-step process. First, we go to the AGM with the idea. And second, once that idea is accepted in principle, then we word the manual adjustments, manual edits that is required to implement the following year.
So Bill Strobel has a question. How does this affect the votes just taken regarding implementation of changes for 2021? I think the answer is it does not, because we've asked for a specific.
According to these rules.
But the September draft would be due in September 2020 to discuss in January 21st to implement in 22. That's Bill Visser. And the answer would be yes, that is correct. But in the cases that we have voted for immediate implementation, we didn't do that. We've asked permission here at the AGM. And Sue Sproul, would it affect the changes of definition of midgirth? Can that be implemented in 2021? Diana or Adam?
Well, what did we vote on? There was one exception.
Yes, let me go grab the poll and bring it up quickly. We had a couple of them, and they were all, sorry. Yeah, the only one.
Okay, I'm just going to jump in here because I've got section 6 open. Okay, the Handicappers Manual, and The max girth is stated in section 6 of part 2.
That's a definition.
Yeah. It's SG, symmetrical max girth, or ASIM max girth. So that would have to be changed, which means we can't do it until 2000.
Well, it's the same thing with the FFH. That's part of the definitions. It's not in the definitions.
Right, it's all in part, yeah, because that would have to go in, because those are things that affect the ASP, and that's what we're trying to delay, or not delay, but
Follow process.
follow process, yes.
Sorry, Jamie's typing an answer. I have to make sure he can.
Here, I'll speak it instead of typing.
Yeah, thank you. I was trying to bring it back.
Yes, for any of the changes to section 2, we've just proven the rule we put in place to answer to. If the membership, being all the voting people online, wish a motion or a revision to take place the next year, they can override the rule with a 2/3 majority vote. So if they want the mid-girth to max girth change to happen for 2021, it's a new motion with a 2/3 majority vote, just like we just did with the FS ASP to non-flying sail ASP.
Mm-hmm.
That's available in the bylaws, but it requires a motion from the floor and a 2/3 majority to pass it.
So if I interject, does it make sense for each of these proposals that have been voted on to then have a separate vote as to the implementation date to change from the 2022 to 2021? That's available to us to do right now for all of them.
Just a question that I throw in with it. Some of these questions will involve Diana and programming. Is it feasible to do it that quickly?
Thank you, Adam. I was about to jump in and say no. No, please.
No,
And just so everybody online understands, the reason that some of these delays happen isn't because we don't want them to happen, but because of the process of implementation isn't done. Recognizing there are somewhere between 1,400 and 800 certificates that then it may have impact on. So, it may not affect all of them, but if it affects any of them, it does create a substantial workload. And given our budget, we're attempting to stay within budget. So this is the balance that we have to find a way to strike. While these are all great ideas and should be implemented today, it may not be practical to have that happen.
Okay.
The other, of course, is that we hope to issue new certificates in April, and in the meantime, we have a couple of sessions, including the alert list, including a training session, and that's just a lot of work jammed into a very short period.
So the one on the obvious loophole on the centerline credit with the small spinnaker, that's an easy fix, and that's relatively, I think that one's completely doable. But some of these do create a disproportionate amount of work in a very narrow period with time coming. So, while we all agree these are good ideas, I think the idea has to follow the process of the policies that are in place for the organization. So I guess I'm discouraging trying to run through too quickly some of these changes that do have a negative impact on implementation.
I would also like to add that even though we agree on the principles of the changes, these will be discussed again by Central Council if there are any issues coming up and there may be some problems that we haven't foreseen yet. And that we need that window of time.
Which again, kind of picking up on that, Adam, the ability for the local handicappers to have those conversations with their district handicappers, because the district handicappers are present at central council, so that it does represent the interest of the totality of the organization, as opposed to, you know, the 10 people sitting around central council table.